It's another day here at the Comeback Team Studios. And this is your boy, Bek Lover, and you're watching another episode of Interesting Times on the Bek Lover Podcast, where I collect all the interesting news, all the breaking news of the day. I give you my analysis, my forecast, and what I think might be coming to you, my friends. So if you want to be informed and have someone do all the homework for you and have the news in an interesting fashion, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Check me out on YouTube, Rumble, Spotify, and anywhere podcasts are available. And I thank all of you who have already subscribed. In any event, this is going to be a short episode here today in New York City and across the globe. You may have noticed some interruptions in the technological world as one of the biggest technological companies in the world, Microsoft, drops the ball, and a lot of services, including travel and transportation and flights being grounded because of a faulty update, and I will cover that right now. Global tech outage, flights grounded and offices hit as internet users face disruptions. A widespread technological outage grounded flights, knocked banks offline and media outlets off air on Friday in a massive disruption that affected companies and services around the world and highlighted dependence on software from a handful of providers. Cybersecurity firm CrowdStrike said that the issue believed to be behind the outage was not a security incident or a cyber attack. I'm pretty sure they figured that out so quickly. In any event, I agree with what the article says, that maybe there's too many of us depending on just a few companies, so that if one of these companies gets taken down in a cyber attack, it can disrupt travel, flights, infrastructure. It's kind of like that movie with the now retired and unfortunately struggling with health issues Bruce Willis film, Die Hard, Live Free or Die Hard, when his character is up against this massive cyber attack in that film. It's pretty cool, actually. I think Shia LaBeouf was also in that movie. In any event, global Microsoft meltdown tied to bad CrowdStrike update. A faulty software update from cybersecurity vendor CrowdStrike crippled countless Microsoft Windows computers across the globe today, disrupting everything from airline travel and financial institutions to hospitals and businesses online. CrowdStrike said a fix has been deployed, but experts say the recovery from this outage could take some time, as CrowdStrike's solution needs to be applied manually on a per-machine basis. So they got to go now to all these computers that were hit by this and one by one fix them. So if they're all running on one program, each computer, they can't just send it to a cloud or send the link, and everyone just gets back online. It has to be done one by one by one. So imagine the millions and millions of computers affected, the businesses. I mean, this is crazy when you think about it. This is, if I'm not mistaken, the largest technological incident in our history. Earlier today, an errant update shipped by CrowdStrike began causing Windows machines running the software to display the dreaded blue screen of death, rendering those systems temporarily unusable. Like most security software, CrowdStrike requires deep hooks into the Windows operating system to fend off digital intruders. And in that environment, a tiny coding error can quickly lead to catastrophic outcomes. This is why the cybersecurity industry has become so important these days, with all the breaches and people's personal information, even their communications at risk. You better be careful what you send out there, what you text, what you email, because at any moment, a hacker could move in and take it out. One of the companies that I highly recommend if you have a business, a very serious business, is Port 43, if I'm not mistaken, is the name. I know the owner of that company. Absolutely awesome company. I'm having a blank here. I think my systems are down. Port 53, my apologies, Port 53. Absolutely amazing company. I actually know the founder and CEO of this company personally. He's a very good friend of mine. He's got offices all across the globe. He's such a brilliant young man, and his team is unparalleled. Port 53 for all your security needs. Go to port53.com. If you have a company, he handles some of the biggest companies in the world to protect them from breaches, cybersecurity, all of that. Tell them Bek Lover sent you. Shoot an email to Omar. If you have a company, you have, sensitive information and systems that need to be protected, this is the company that I highly recommend. And no, they do not sponsor me yet, and maybe they should. But in any event, that's not why I'm recommending them. The guy has offices in the Empire State Building, Dubai, all across the globe. His team is amazing. Geniuses. Been in the cybersecurity world for a long, long time. I haven't really watched the Republican National Convention. I got to admit that I haven't really watched it. And maybe for someone that's doing a podcast like I am, where I'm supposed to keep you up to date, I should have watched some of it. But I'm seeing some of the highlights, and I thought this one was pretty cool. One of my childhood heroes was Hulk Hogan. I was a Hulkamaniac. I loved, oh, yeah, brother. I loved, Hulk Hogan. I guess it's kind of cool that after you get shot, and survive as former president and realistically looks like the next president of the United States of America, it's kind of cool to have Hulk Hogan kind of be in your corner. But it also just shows, like, in my opinion, and this is on both sides, and I think the left is even more guilty of this because they're more aligned with Hollywood itself. I just find it cheesy that any of these people, I don't know, man. Like, I mean, it's cool, and I get the shock and awe of having celebrities like, oh, I endorse this candidate and blah, blah, blah. I just think if you're like that type of celebrity, you're probably just better off not getting involved in politics. I think is a smarter move. You don't see Sylvester Stallone talking about any of this stuff. You don't see, Robert De Niro lost half his following. Anyone that was conservative hates his guts now. So it's like, I think it's just a risky move when you're a celebrity. But in any event, you must really believe in that person that much and love them that much that you're willing to put, your reputation on the line, regardless of what side of the aisle you're on, I, on the other hand, talk about these people all the time and fucking throw them under the bus and train, and I don't give a fuck. So welcome to the Bek Lover Podcast, where he's going to tell you what he's thinking and feeling. Here we go. Let's see what Hulk Hogan did on this Republican National Convention, probably one of the most historic conventions ever after a failed assassination attempt on Donald Trump. I mean, pretty interesting stuff to watch. Here we go.
But what happened last week when they took a shot at my hero and they tried to kill the next president of the United States? Enough was enough. And I said, let Trumpomania run wild, brother. Let Trumpomania rule again. Let Trumpomania make America great again.
I got to tell you, even though he's a lot older now, I still wouldn't want to fight Hulk Hogan. He's a badass 67-year-old, or however old he is. In any event, courtesy of Fox News, this clip. This is also a pretty interesting story and a funny story, and the guy that's married to her must be a complete moron. A Dubai princess, Sheikha Mahra, dumps her husband on Instagram. I divorce, and I divorce. Emirati princess Sheikha Mahra bint Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum. Do you think they have long names? How the hell do you even fit this name on your license or passport? Even if you take her title, right, the Sheikha, right, just use her name. Mahra bint Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum. Like, how the fuck are you fitting that on a license? You're just not. In any event, announces divorce from her husband, Sheikh Mana bin Mohammed bin Rashid bin Mana Al Maktoum. I mean, just look at how long the name is. And I'm not making fun. Yo, if anybody's been a champion of the Middle East and Arabs and their rights and all that, it's your boy. So let me have a little fun. Okay, you guys got some long ass, crazy ass, long ass names, bro. In any event, the Emirati princess, Sheikha Mahra bint Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum announces divorce from her husband, Sheikh Mana bin Mohammed bin Rashid bin Mana Al Maktoum on Instagram due to infidelity. The couple had a lavish wedding in 2023 and welcomed the daughter in 2024. So in less than a year, okay, In a bold and unexpected move, Her Highness Sheikha Mara bint Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, the Dubai princess, dropped a bombshell on Instagram addressing the infidelity of her husband, His Highness Sheikh Mana bin Mohammed bin Rashid bin Mana Al Maktoum. Her Highness, daughter of His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, Vice President and Prime Minister of the UAE and ruler of Dubai, wrote, "Dear husband, as you are occupied with other companions," meaning other women, "I hereby declare our divorce. I divorce you, and I divorce you. Take care, your ex-wife." Here's her post, and you can see it here on my screen if you're watching me. Following the announcement, eagle-eyed fans noticed that the royal couple had not unfollowed each other on Instagram, but also removed all photos of one another from their profiles. Some followers in the comments mentioned that the duo had blocked each other, while others speculated if Sheikha Mara's account might have been hacked. Another Instagram user wrote, "But the divorce will occur from the husband's side, right? And a wife have to choose." The shocking news comes just over a year after they got married. The couple, who announced their engagement on March 22nd, 2023 through Arabian Royal Agency, confirmed the news with the official post featuring a congratulatory poem by Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid bin Mana Al Maktoum, Sheikh Mana's father. They exchanged vows in a traditional Islamic marriage ceremony on May 28, 2023. Very, very attractive woman, very powerful and rich. So for those of you that are single, probably have a better chance if you're Muslim and can speak some Arabic. But happy hunting, guys. This could be the woman of your dreams. And clearly she's going to see marrying someone with money and power is not the right choice for true love and loyalty. So good luck to you, princess. We salute you. Now, the reason the I divorce you is that to get divorced, to start the divorce process in Islam, you must say, I divorce you, I divorce you, I divorce you. You must publicly declare the divorce 3 times, and then there's a waiting period of 90 days before the divorce can be made official. The logic behind that is that first you're making a public declaration so both parties know that the divorce period has begun. Islam makes it 90 days before you make it officially like it's over, because sometimes people in the heat of the moment, they're angry. Maybe the families can reconcile them. Maybe in the emotion of all that, and then you take a step back. Because anybody that's been through a divorce can tell you it's like the most horrible thing in the world for the most part. And when there's children involved and things involved, it's very hard to unattach and undisconnect your lives, even with the best prenuptial agreements, right? So the logic here is that after you say that I divorce you, I divorce you, I divorce you 3 times in the religion of Islam, you got 90 days to kind of cool off. You have to be separated during that time period. But I guess it's kind of God's way in that religion of giving you some time to think, like, do you really want to go through with the full divorce? So let's see after 90 days if they reconcile. I doubt it. But that is why she wrote in her post, for those of you that don't understand the religion of Islam, why she wrote, I hereby declare our divorce publicly, right? I divorce you, and I divorce you. We moved to Bangladesh, a country that's always having something issue or violence or monsoons, and it's sad because they are one of the poorest nations in the world. Bangladesh security forces fire bullets and sound grenades as protests over government jobs escalate. Associated Press. Police and security officials in Bangladesh fired bullets and tear gas at protesters and banned all gatherings in the capital on Friday as internet and mobile services were cut off after days of deadly clashes over the allocation of government jobs. The protests, which began weeks ago but escalated sharply on Monday, represent the biggest challenge to Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina since she won a 4th consecutive term in office after elections in January. Main opposition groups boycotted those polls. Samoy TR, a local television channel, reported that 4 more people died in the latest clashes. This comes a day after the bloodiest day of demonstrations to date, when 22 people were killed, according to local media, as protesting students attempted to impose a complete shutdown. Authorities could not be reached immediately to confirm the amount of deaths. The chaos has highlighted cracks in Bangladesh's governance and economy and the frustration of young graduates who face a lack of jobs. The government has deployed police and paramilitary forces across the capital to lock down campuses and break up the protests. More than 1,000 protesters who had gathered outside the head of the state-run Bangladesh television, which was attacked and set on fire. The border guards shot at the right crowd with rifles, sound grenades, while police officers fired tear gas and rubber bullets. Bullets littered the streets, which were also marked by smears of blood. I escaped by leaping over the wall, but some of my colleagues got stuck inside. The attackers entered the building and set furniture on fire. The protesters are demanding an end to quota system that reserves up to 30% of government jobs for relatives of veterans who fought in Bangladesh's War of Independence in 1971 against Pakistan, which is basically their cousins. In any event, if they want government jobs, they should all come to America. The border is wide open. This administration lets them right in. And we have the biggest bureaucracy probably of any nation in the world. Plenty of government jobs because they're dabbling into the lives of Americans every single day in aspects they shouldn't, overtaxing us. They've created millions of departments to make our lives miserable. So, hey, some of you Bangladeshi people, if you can make it to the southern border of America, you're going to get in here, no problem. And they'll probably give you paper, debit card, free healthcare, things they don't give to Americans who work hard. And maybe you guys don't have to die over there. Come to America. Everyone else is. Top UN court, reported by AP. Top UN court says Israel's presence in occupied Palestinian territories is illegal and should end. So this is the United Nations, right, telling Israel, as they've told them for decades. The top UN court said Friday that Israel's presence in the Palestinian occupied territories is unlawful and called on it to end for a settlement construction to stop immediately, issuing an unprecedented sweeping condemnation of Israel's rule over the lands it captured 57 years ago. It is a non-binding opinion. The International Court of Justice pointed to a wide list of policies, including the building and expansion of Israeli settlements in the West Bank and East Jerusalem, use of the area's natural resources, the annexation and imposition of permanent control over lands, and discriminatory policies against the Palestinians on those lands. It said Israel must end settlement construction immediately and that existing settlements must be removed. But from what we can tell, most of the time, Israel ignores all these international rulings and continues to bulldoze Palestinians' homes and bring their people from all over the world to live in those houses that are demolished on lands that were not theirs before the creation of the state of Israel. That is the truth. Drone strike by Yemen's Houthi rebels kills one person and wounds at least 10 in Tel Aviv. The Houthis are a rebel group supposedly backed by Iran from Yemen. And this shows you that besides blowing up ships, they're hitting even people in Israel. And this conflict, I'm telling you, I've said it since October 7th, it's going to spill. And I believe it's going to really expand soon into other countries, including Yemen, Lebanon, maybe even spill over into Egypt were my predictions. Let's see what happens over the next few months. An Iranian-made drone sent by Yemeni Houthi rebels struck Tel Aviv on Friday, leaving one person dead and 10 wounded. The aerial strike rumbled through the center of the city near the U.S. Embassy, causing shrapnel to rain down and spread shards of glass over a large radius. The hit in Israel's biggest city was startling because the drone appeared to have crossed much of the country through the multi-layered air defenses that have intercepted almost all of the drones and rockets that Yemen's Houthis have been launching towards Israel since the Gaza war began. Most have failed even to reach Israel's southernmost city, Eilat, on the Red Sea, some 270 kilometers south of Tel Aviv. The Israeli military said it was investigating what went wrong, but an error occurred and there was no interception. So it just shows you that this thing is far from over. Israel says its strikes kill elite Hezbollah unit field commander, reported by Reuters. A field commander in Hezbollah's elite Radwan forces was killed by an Israeli strike on southern Lebanon. The Israeli military and two security sources said on Thursday the latest senior member of the group to be killed in months of tit-for-tat strikes across the border with Israel. The Israeli military said it had killed Radwan Force Operations Unit Commander, it named as Ali Jafar Matuk, along with another commander responsible for Radwan Force Operations in the Hajr region. It said additional Radwan Force fighters were also killed in that strike. So this is only continuing to expand. This story just disturbing, and it's not a good look for the police, and this is what creates animosity between the police and non-police. CNN reporting Seattle officer fired for cruel comments and callous laughter following an Indian grad student's death. A Seattle police officer has been fired over the dehumanizing laughter and cruel comments he made after the 2023 death of an Indian graduate who was struck by a police vehicle. So keep in mind, what makes it even worse is that she was killed by the police, okay, on accident. And then you have a cop making jokes about her death. Not a good look. So rightfully fired. There is no doubt, okay, Seattle interim police chief Sue Rahr terminated former officer Daniel Aderer on Wednesday and justified her decision to the department in an internal email attaching the department's disciplinary action report alongside it. It is my duty as a leader of this organization to uphold the high standards necessary to maintain public trust, Rahr wrote. For me to allow the officer to remain on our force would only bring further dishonor to the entire department. She said, and this is in the death of Jahnavi Kandula. She was only 20-year-old graduate student from Andhra Pradesh, India. She was fatally struck by a Seattle police officer, Kevin Dave's police patrol vehicle while she was on a crosswalk, okay, on January 23rd, 2023. 8 months after the incident, police released body-worn camera footage on the police that captured a phone conversation in which Arterer, that's the asshole cop making fun of a dead person that his department killed, and he's quoted as saying, "But she is dead," Arterer says on the body-worn camera footage, apparently in response to the person on the phone. "No, it's a regular person." Arterer then says moments later, he replies, "Yeah, just write a check," and laughs. "Yeah, 11,000. She was 26 anyway." He adds, mistaking Kandula's age because she was only 23. She had limited value, because there's no value to human life. Money's more important than human life. So I'm glad they fired this asshole. Hunter Biden seeks dismissal of tax gun case, citing decisions to toss Trump's classified docs case. President Joe Biden's son, Hunter, asked federal judges on Thursday to dismiss tax and guns cases against him, citing a ruling in Florida this week that threw out a separate prosecution of former President Trump. The request in federal court in Delaware and California underscored the potential ramifications of the U.S. District Judge Aileen Cannon's dismissal Monday of the classified documents case against Trump, and the possibility that it could unsettle the legal landscape surrounding Justice Department special counsels. Both Hunter Biden and Trump were prosecuted by special counsels appointed by Attorney General Merrick Garland. In dismissing the Trump case, Cannon ruled that the appointment of the special counsel who prosecuted Trump, Jack Smith, violated the Constitution because he was appointed directly to the position by Garland instead of being nominated by the president and confirmed by the Senate. Smith's team had said the Justice Department followed long-establishment precedent. For instance, the Trump-era appointment of special counsel Robert Mueller to investigate Russian election interference was upheld by courts and has appealed Canada's dismissal to a federal appeals court in Atlanta. Based on these new legal developments, Mr. Biden moves to dismiss the indictment brought against him because the special counsel who initiated this prosecution was appointed in violation of the Appointments Clause as well. Hunter Biden and the lawyers wrote they also cited an opinion this month by Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas that questioned the propriety of a special counsel appointment. But basically, I don't think Hunter's going to go to jail. And me and you get caught with guns and shit that these people do, we would all be in fucking jail. Your family would be in jail. But these people get away because there are kings and queens, and me and you are fucking losers. Meanwhile, the Constitution says we, the people, have the power. And meanwhile, when we get in trouble, we don't get out of fucking trouble. They do. And I'm tired of the fucking corruption. This is to be a land where we're all treated equally. Let's see what they do with Hunter Biden. Let's see. Speaking of being fair, The Guardian reports Russian court sentenced U.S. journalist Evan Gershkovich to 16 years in prison. Reporter found guilty of spying in trial that thought to have been rushed in preparation for prisoner swap. A Russian court has found the U.S. journalist Evan Gershkovich guilty of espionage and sentenced him to 16 years in prison after a trial widely described as a sham. Gershkovich, 32, denied the charges and pleaded not guilty during the secretive court proceedings in Yekaterinburg, mostly held behind closed doors. His employer, the Wall Street Journal, described the verdict as a disgraceful sham conviction. The trial was concluded with unusual haste, raising hopes of a prisoner swap involving the journalist, something that has long been the subject of private discussions between Russian and U.S. officials. Footage from the courtroom showed Gershkovich dressed in a T-shirt, watching impassively from inside a glass defendant's box as the judge read out the sentence: imprisonment for a term of 16 years in penal colony with a strict regime. The court ordered his mobile phone and reporter's notebook to be destroyed. Early on Friday, the prosecution had asked for an 18-year jail term. President Joe Biden said the U.S. government was pushing hard for Gershkovich's release, adding there's no question that Russia is wrongfully detaining Evan. Journalism is not a crime. The British Prime Minister Keir Starmer called the sentence despicable. He was arrested while reporting in the Ural city of Yekaterinburg last March, becoming the first U.S. journalist since the Cold War to be accused of spying in Russia. He had been held in Moscow's notorious Lefortovo prison, but was returned to Yekaterinburg for trial. So that sucks for him, and hopefully they get him out soon. And my last story is an interesting one. We've all heard of vampires, and that's not what I'm calling this young child, but being out in the sunlight can kill them. This poor kid has like a vampire-like symptom where he can't be in the sunlight. I find the story to be fascinating. So let's push play.
During Spain's summer months, 11-year-old Paul Dominguez mostly stays indoors. And when he does have to leave the house, he brings a UV meter with him, wears protective gear, and carries a fan to keep him cool. Dominguez has a rare disease called xeroderma pigmentosum, which means ultraviolet radiation could be deadly for him. As heatwave...
So basically, he can't be exposed to the sun at all because it can create violent sunburns that can end his life, literally. So it's just fascinating that a lot of times we just don't realize how many different people around the world have different conditions, different disabilities, different issues they have to face just to try to lead as normal of a life as possible. If you're watching this story, Paul Dominguez, 11 years old, love you, respect you, make sure you keep that sun off your skin, but take plenty of vitamin D and E to make up for the lack of sunlight, because we do need it and some of it is healthy for us. In any event, this is another episode of Interesting Times with Bek Lover. Make sure you continue to stay tuned, and I'll keep bringing you the most interesting stories in the world. Till the next time, friends, stay